Well, you realize he was deceiving up Cash. She's in the front seat of my Rolls-Royce Ferrari. And you realize I mean, truly I want to represent the table. And well, I figure I can represent the table. And say we are glad to the point that you are here. You have had to deal with a ton of public show this year. And we have been pulling for you. Thank you took out my splash paint. Laughter. And I shower painted Kevin and Wendy perpetually. And right up till now, it actually is everlastingly Wendy Williams won't be exploited by her ex. And his momentum, darling Kevin Hunter, is bothered and broke now that support isn't being paid. Assuming they accept they can live off of her, they ought to pack their effects and go for someone else to kiss off of in light of the fact that she's not having any of it she had buckled down for her cash. And you can wager she was at that point magnanimous enough to help her ex. They shouldn't obviously request Maury what will befall them, since Wendy's program has been counterbalanced, and she's of work. Wendy Williams is one of the best and notable moderators. Nobody hasn't heard of her. With her superstar comes large chunk of change. And obviously individuals who follow her exclusively for the cash are simply following the path she presumably didn't anticipate, that her better half should be one of those individuals, since who might do that? Well, Kevin. Laughter. Wendy has been hitched to Kevin Hunter for more than 20 years. For quite a long time, their names were solely connected with one another in light of the fact that Wendy was a VIP and Kevin was her own associate. He was her director, as well as the maker of Wendy Williams. Show they were a perfect pair. And continuously 2000, they had invited their child, Kevin Hunter. Everybody had no clue about what was happening behind the camera. Kevin, as recently expressed, filled in as a maker for Wendy on a few of her undertakings, including the memoir Sovereign of Media and the television docu-series The Wendy Williams Project. Expected to be that on the off chance that they separated from he would be excused from every one of his positions, which is precisely exact thing happened. Wendy had the looks, the vocation, and the cash. What more might her significant other at some point need for her? He could, in a real sense, just take a load off with every last bit of her cash. However, he needed to use it for some unacceptable reasons. Kevin, as per Wendy, is a chronic miscreant. Clearly, she knew about his relationship almost from the start of their relationship, including before they wedded. Regardless of this, she guarantees she regrets nothing about tolerating him for the beyond 25 years. That is what unqualified love resembles, I assume, yet it couldn't be us. Kevin genuinely wrecked Wendy. He actually anticipates that she should back him up. This is what he did. Kevin being the performing multiple tasks sweetheart that he is would spend Wendy's cash on his courtesans. That is her deserved cash, sweat and tears, generally wasted on different ladies. Since her ex idea he was qualified for it. Wendy was very much aware that her ex utilized the assets to cry and eat less carbs as other business relates. Evidently, there was one more female to whom Kevin was fairly steadfast, Sharita Hudson, his paramour, for quite a long time, most likely starting around 2007. Wendy didn't squint when she found out about this enormous relationship. Kevin had purchased Serena, a house only 9 miles from his and Wendy's agreeable home. She wouldn't fret as long as they didn't have a kid. They startlingly had a little girl. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for the television program moderator, and she petitioned for legal separation in 2019. Despite the fact that she hadn't seen him since she wouldn't play stepfather to Kevin and Sharina's adoration kid. Assuming that they spent Wendy's cash when they were dating, they'd figure out how to spend it now that she and Kevin are separated. From the news comes as pictures of Kevin and his escort Field Hudson holiday surface on the web, following that reports started to circle that she had proactively brought forth a child young lady, Kevin Hunter, that apologized openly to Wendy, while neither conceding nor rejecting that he is the kid's dad. I'm not glad for my new activities and take full responsibility and apologize to my better half, my family, and her astounding fans. Kevin said in an explanation, I'm going through a period of self-reflection and am attempting to think of certain wrongs. He obviously just remained with Wendy since he really wanted Cash to flourish in Hollywood. He said it was in friendly separation the speediest in Hollywood history. However, we suspect Wendy simply needed out Kevin Hunter needs to be paid for provision and kid support, which isn't possible in light of the fact that their kid is presently not a minor. The more he tracked down ways of getting Wendy's cash, the more clever it turned out to be. Tragically, Wendy got bulldozed and chosen to give him some cash basically to keep his life, and that of his new youngsters, going she would offer cash as long as she had the Wendy Williams program. Or one more venture agreed with a similar compensation. Wouldn't you say she's overall excessively liberal? We accepted she was embarrassing herself, yet it ended up being the most splendid thought she had at any point, had for a couple of months. The divorce settlement would empower Sharina to begin new organizations that could never endure, and Kevin would have the option to help his family, despite the fact that he was jobless. Wendy doesn't have to pay divorce settlement now that her program is endive. And she is jobless. She was basically a jobless, very rich person by that point. And Kevin and Serena got back to argue. Kneeling down Wendy Williams was seldom seen on air during the last time of her show. She needed to leave for some time because of a few sicknesses which constrained the hard decision to drop the show. Wendy has battled with an assortment of medical problems and has lost monetary control. This didn't keep her ex from challenging the finish of the provision cash. Kevin Hunter guarantees that he can't manage the cost of essential necessities, like collision protection and month-to-month charges, without her monetary help. Yet isn't this Wendy's concern? The payment gave him a well-off way of life that included sumptuous property mortgage holder expenses, lavish vehicles, and the likely consideration for his escort turned life partner, and a genuine kid father. During the marriage, he has now mentioned that his divorce settlement installments be restored. He needs them to arrange Wendy's watchman to pay his legally expected under the MSA, and Severin's understanding this is because of him being behind on his bills, especially installments to the property holder's affiliation, which can prompt dispossession. The dad of two said that he really wants hip medical procedure, which he can't pay without protection, and Eddie experiences regular uneasiness because of his absence of care. Having can't fault Wendy for anything for being controlled and outmaneuvered since they struck an agreement when they separated by their conjugal repayment understanding. Assuming Wendy lost her employment, she would as of now not be committed to pay divorce settlement to Hunter, and all installments would stop as of October 2021. The visit program, for which she became popular, has been suspended with no expected restoration date. As per court filings, Kevin Hunter's month-to-month divorce settlement installments will lapse in February 2022. That implies Wendy has kept paying support despite the fact that she has been jobless for a couple of months. She has offered him an excessive lot of elbow room. Kevin needs to part everything with Wendy, since he professes to be the explanation the show turned out to be large and a cerebrum's behind it. He even had the haughtiness to credit the show's